And go ahead.
Greetings, everyone. Tonight, we would like to thank everyone. We have a great featured guest by the name of Miss Ebony Jones Lopez. She's alumni of South Carolina State University. She has her BS in bio, minor in chemistry, a MS in education, curriculum and instruction, and she has been in the teaching field since 2005. She's married with a beautiful, loving daughter. And we just want to thank you for taking the time out, joining us tonight with the topic of Remember Who You Are.
Thank you for having me. I'm kind of nervous.
Oh, oh
Thank you
no,
for coming.
my host, we have Amaryllis. We also have Simona. Tonight is her topic, so we're going to let her kind of jump in there.
Okay, how y'all doing?
Good.
Tonight we're basically gonna be talking about um life for our people in the period after slavery. I think that many Black Americans will argue that, even though the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1862 and that was supposed to be the end of slavery, clearly we still have problems that are going on today that definitely that just was not the case if you look at this from our point of view. So tonight we were just going to be taking a look at some of the things along history that have strengthened our culture, and also we will always take a look at the disconnect and try to apply it to what's going on today, and just try to rectify some of these things right here. One changed mind is another person moving forward, the right direction. And we just going to continue to fight this fight. Like every show, there will be, the same goal, trying to just bring somebody, to wake somebody up, one more person that is like, I'm ready to, I'm tired of this. Like, let's go ahead and fight this fight, whether it be starting a new business, whether it be giving back, whether it be employing somebody else in the Black community, just doing something besides wasting your mind daily, learning something new daily, teaching something new daily, and just seeking this information so that as a people we could begin to turn this thing around and just do better as a whole. Um, and again, thank you, Ebony, for coming, because Cassandra did tell us a lot about you. So I am definitely interested in what you'll be sharing with us tonight.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, from her
no.
first on experience for being in the education department, we know that, like you said, since the end of slavery, December 1865. It was a supposedly abolished, but we know in our education department, we still suffer in terms of resources, in terms of funding. And we would just like you to fill us in first-handedly being an educator. What were some things that you seen happen in terms of struggling and challenges?
So one, it's crazy that this is today's topic because I've been teaching 15 years, and this year I'm serving as the dean of students. I taught biology or some semblance of science for most of my career, but I was becoming increasingly more conscious of the disconnect and how I couldn't get young students to care about biology because there was other stuff going on. So in my role as the dean of students, I thought I could do like some kind of restorative justice curriculum, right? Instead of that, like suspensions and detentions and the school to prison pipeline. Let me not perpetuate that. Let me try to figure out how I can like reach kids, and then, like Simona said, like I guess evoke some kind of change in the pattern of thinking that would inform like the way that they move forward. So I just in the 15 years I've been teaching, it's just maybe I don't want to blame social media. I don't want to be that person, but I just feel like it's just a stark contrast. Like 15 years I've been teaching, and I feel like I'm not going to make it another 15. I don't think I'm going to make it another 5. And not because I don't love students, not because I don't love young people. I don't know how much change I can affect in a broken system. I don't know how much change I can affect where you're more beholden to bureaucracy than you are to like legit molding young people to behave in pro-social ways and preparing them for higher education. And folks mean well, don't get me wrong. It's just, you know, we've heard the quote about how, you know, a system can't, what is it like? It's like a system can't protect those that it wasn't designed to. You know what I mean? I mean, like our kids don't even have like textbooks that they can take home. Remember, we had textbooks. You had to sign them out, and you know, you had to bring them back. If you didn't bring them back, you didn't get your diploma, like that kind of stuff. Like teachers are abusing Xerox machines because funds are so low, we can't afford to like give students textbooks anymore. The number of students who are labeled as special ed is like skyrocketing. Like the type of services that we have to provide, and some of it is steeped in some real stuff, but much of it is steeped in like the systemic issues that make it such that, you know, I try not to say children of color because respectfully, my interest is Black children. So, so just keep it real in this space. I think that it's Black children who are consistently done a disservice in the public school system.
And you know what? And it kind of brings me back to the infamous court case, Brown versus the Board of Education. You know, it wasn't that far long ago, but it's still prevalent. Like even though they say we passed that, we still living in that.
Absolutely.
There still haven't been some type of change fully in terms of equality, you know. It just was a few decades ago, segregation in the schools. Blacks could only go to one type of school, whites could only go to one. It still seems like we haven't really gained the total respect.
Even here in New York City, we have, you know, those specialized high schools that are made up predominantly of non-Blacks. So even in 2021, right, we have this stratified, very segregated school system in New York City, which is said to be the most diverse and a melting pot of cultures and all kinds of other stuff. But the racism is so evident that that Black students just overwhelmingly, by and large, don't have the opportunities or have the skills necessary to persist in those environments because the system was designed for that.
When we're talking about the case with Plessy versus Ferguson, you know, this case was, I mean, if you look at the verbiage, you know what I mean? It was designed to stop really race segregation, and that's it. But when you're looking at today, they have found new ways to put these things on paper that to the regular mind, you're reading this and you're not understanding what exactly is going on. And that's kind of what the major issue has become. Like before, you know, we can see segregation of races, you know what I mean? But what they're not telling you is, okay, their new thing is they're segregating, because this is a poor school, they can't afford these things. Like, we can't afford this in this district. This is what it has become. Like, now the struggle is being some type of financial thing. Okay, so when are we gonna have some programs? And when are we gonna do something to turn this around? Because at this point, it's just ridiculous. You know, like other teachers that I've known along the years. My camera went on. Well,
she's blinding us with your beauty, girl.
It's almost acting like it wants to like not work anymore. But a few friends that I had that are teachers, and like she said, she didn't know how much longer she could go on, and that was exactly the case with one of my other friends, because like here in Georgia, she taught in two different areas. So one area, you know, predominantly African American students, the South Side, and her number one thing was they don't even use the same textbooks or curriculum. And it's like, how can we be in the same state when these children are learning something completely different from the district that I last taught it? And then, you know, of course, when you start opening up your mouth and you start bringing these differences to the light, you don't have a job. Because here we are right to work states. They just fired her. Like, it wasn't even a reason. And at this point, it's not too much I'm going to say because it's still ongoing. And it's like, when you want to make this change, you're blacklisted. Now you can't get a job, or now you got to go get a lawyer because there's nowhere for you to work because all you wanted was equality for these students. Like, they need to be learning the same things. They need to have access to the materials that they need. You know, there should not be things cut from the curriculum because it's not affordable in this neighborhood. Why can't the state draft something where it's affordable to everybody? This will be our state curriculum. Like, why does it have to differ depending on location, you know, and type of school? Like, it's just gotten to be out of hand. And I was looking at some other cases.
Y'all bringing out the legislature tonight. Okay.
Simona said, do your homework. So we had homework.
That's right.
Oh, thank you, Blackberry. She said, great job and loving tonight's conversation, ladies. Thank you, Blackberry. We really appreciate you for taking the time out and listening. Thank you so much.
And you know what I want to say? Blackberry is always there every show. So we thank you because she's been here from the beginning. I remember him. I remember that.
Yes. Well, Ebony, being that you've been in the education field, I know you have brought these challenges to certain, you know, influencers that could maybe, you know, bring a change, maybe, you know, challenge some of the inequalities that our children face. You know, has it been some type of rational, like somebody want to sit down and talk about these things?
Well, what's been really helpful is I've managed to gravitate to like-minded people that I've been able to connect with either in-house in the actual school that I'm at or at various professional developments. And essentially what you're trying to do with relative success is like change the structure from inside. Because I was reading something that talked about like engagement versus empowerment, right? We want students to be engaged. We want them to like really be present for what it is that they're learning, right? And then the flip side is like empowerment, because what we want them to learn is what the white curriculums, is what the Aryan curriculums want them to learn, right? But empowerment is different. So it's about towing the line between empowering students with their stories, right? Not telling them their stories, but giving them the space to like communicate their stories and understand their stories more fully. But then their assessments aren't in harmony with their stories. Like, for example, I teach living environment, which is biology, and a question on the Regents might be about purple loosestrife. You see how we all looking like, you know what I mean, right? It's some flower that grows in a swamp in upstate New York, but a little kid from Brooklyn don't know about a purple loosestrife. So is it fair? You know, like, to me, that's not culturally responsive. That question isn't taking into consideration the fact that everybody sitting for these exams don't have the same lived experience, the same exposure. So to answer your question, what we tried to do is we've abandoned like preparing kids for exams. We just abandoned that. You know, we've grounded it more in just like helping students to be stronger readers, helping students to have more criticality, ask questions, you know, question their sources. Like just it's been more around empowering them around skills and less around the content. You know what I mean? Just trying to just giving them some kind of agency, or giving them the skills that's going to like allow them to sit in front of any text or in any space and just kind of think critically about the information that's being fed to them, so that they can respond to it in organic ways, in ways that help them to get the most out out of the information, but also see where they come in the situation and ask, where am I in this curriculum? Especially in history curriculums in this country, Black people, oh, it's so tragic. If it ain't slavery and civil rights, we ain't talking about nothing else. It's a tragic history. We beat it to death, and we beat it with the same people. It's always Dr. King. Love me some Dr. King, but there were a lot more revolutionary people than Dr. King. It's always Rosa Parks.
Right.
And we know Rosa and love some Rosa, but Rosa wasn't the first to do it. Okay, like it's so much. There's so many layers that even Black history has been whitewashed with the white man's idea of what they want us to know about. You know what I mean? Like, let's take the least radical Negroes and put them in the curriculum, and it takes
that makes it
away from our kids. Yeah,
Black history. You've even heard it now where they no longer want to refer to it as Black history. They want to call Black history American history, saying that Black people are part of the culture in America. Like, I've even heard an argument before saying we don't need to call it Black history anymore because Black people are American. They are part of American culture. So this is American history, but they don't understand we didn't ask to be here. And our history is something that we created here. It was not something that was given to us. We created Black history. Our heroes created the past, which we are going towards today. So, I don't think you can even say that, and consciously know what's going on. In the same breath, it just wouldn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. I don't see
how. With amongst my peers as well. Yeah, Americans, my camera, it's got a problem.
I was trying to help you out.
I think it was in Simone.
Want me to leave that?
No, you're good. Maybe it's your connection. I was trying to fix it for you.
This is static.
If you want, you could log back on. You could log off and on if you want, because the static could be a feedback.
Okay.
Yes, so Marileisha, what you got to say in terms, because I know your grandmas have been in the education system for some time, so I know some things have significantly changed.
Have you where did you say you were from again?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, that's where you're teaching?
Mm-hmm.
With all of the things changing as far as how everyone's teaching right now, with everyone being out of school, are you under the Board of Ed or DOE? Or?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Do they regulate what you're allowed to teach as far as social studies along those lines? So you're not able to, the way we're speaking now, open the avenues to speak freely in reference to trying to, allow others to tell their story?
Absolutely. In fact, well, on the secondary level, namely high school, there's no curriculum. They'll give you like a loose scope and sequence, or they'll give you, but like on lower level curriculums, like you have lesson plans, exactly what's happening one day to the next. With the secondary curriculums, particularly those that end in regents, they give you like these broad units and like subtopics they want you to cover. The way you go about it is entirely up to you. So to answer your question, there's always going to be room for those opportunities, I guess for that kind of instruction. The disconnect is the assessment. So the thing so I'm spending the entire year empowering students, right? But then the assessment that determines if they graduate from high school is not steeped in a culturally responsive curriculum. So that's the challenge, right? Like teaching students in a way that empowers them and enlightens them, right? And then in June they sit for an exam that doesn't reflect any of that. So it's like, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, what do we do? So we like the white man's history, or the white man's version of history, is what they're being assessed on, even if that history is not theirs, even if it's not one that they can readily attach. I mean, and think about it, like in New York City, there is a large like Caribbean, West Indian population. Like their stories and in their Blackness aren't our stories, especially if you Haitian. Slavery, what? We the first free Black nation. What you talking about? You know what I mean? So sorry, I can't relate. So you have Afro-Caribbean people, some of which might be first generation American, or some of which might not be. But I say that to say even their histories aren't represented because their histories aren't in the history of this country. So it's hard. It's hard to create culturally responsive curriculums that address such a vast spectrum of Blackness and then to be assessed by a wider-fied exam at the end of the year. So that's the challenge. You have the freedom to do what you want, but it's trying to figure out how to balance that freedom with, making sure students get a diploma.
You really have the freedom though?
Right. I mean, when I say the freedom in that if the superintendent walked into my classroom and I was teaching some real history, he or she might be like, yeah, this is great. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to write me up. I'm not going to be disciplined for it. But as far as assessment goes, I'm still beholden to making sure those units and those subunits are addressed in the way that the curriculum requires in order for a student to be prepared to take those end of the year Regents exams. So I have the freedom of instruction without any, contest, but in exercising that freedom, I haven't supported a student toward getting a diploma because the system didn't make arrangements for my radical truth, my truth spewing curriculum, like, unfortunately.
Do you find that's like a setup almost? Because
Absolutely. Because we're also like this idea of culturally responsive education. You're hearing it everywhere from federal on down, right? But there isn't anything radically happening with the people who are sitting at the table creating the exams. So you're sending me out of the building a couple of times a year to these professional developments, and you're giving me all these really strong skills and resources that are going to do much hopefully are going to do much in trying to like change the mindset or open the eyes of a child. But I don't know how they're going to fare in terms of getting a diploma.
Are those things ever opened up at any part or time of the year to teachers as far as what could be changed on the exams, or what? Like, is any of that ever asked toward the teachers? What could be done to help make this better?
Very rarely. I mean, teachers, we're the lowest on the totem pole. I mean, which is interesting. People never defer to the people who work most closely with the students and families. Right. No one ever asks us anything, essentially. So no, those opportunities, or if they come up in the way that they're supposed to come up, in a very PR way. These little summits and these think tanks. So we come together and we like give all these really good ideas, and then it just looks good. It's a photo op. It's an opportunity to say you had all these wonderful minds come together to do this thing, but it doesn't affect change. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything.
Oh, we got a comment by Miss Jo Brown. Wow, never thought about the lack of representation. Retesting. Me neither, Ebony. Like, you really broke it down. And I can even go back to a time when I was taking a test, a standard test, and sometimes a lot of us get test butterflies. Mm. I can express it better than I can write it. Mm-hmm. Do I fit in? And I'm 35 years old now.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing. So like multiple
things need to be changed.
Yeah, multiple modes of assessment. There might be kids who aren't strong writers, but can retain information, and you know what I mean, like multiple modes of assessment. But there are also some schools in New York City and New York State who aren't beholden to those kinds of assessments, but they serve a very different population of students, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Go ahead, Simone.
I was saying that's some of the reasons why they're in court now. Especially like I don't know as far as New York, but here in the South and also in California, that's one of the reasons what's going on right now. They're talking about the fact that um, these tests are really the way that the tests are biased. They don't even really. They're designed to predict whether a student will be successful or not in college. But at the end of the day, the way they're so biased, how can they do that? You know what I mean? Like they don't predict no real number on whether or not this person has a success rate when they get to college. Like there's no real probability from that. So I don't get what's the point of there even being um I just don't get what's the point at this point for this to even be a thing. Like it's just crazy. It's like so you put a text in front of me, you know that I probably can't relate to half of the stuff that's on there because the verbiage is so crazy. It's not things that I'm gonna encounter in every day. But yet you use this to determine whether or not I get accepted to a college. And that's just I don't get it. And they've been in court for maybe 2 years now and still no answers. It's no point. You know what I'm saying? And they're not going to stop the test because in the meantime, this is still something that our children are taking, even in a pandemic, to determine whether or not they're going to go to college.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
So I don't. It's just not. It's just not making any sense.
Yeah.
The legislation is like, what do we do now? Because it's been held up in court in another state for 3 years. So what are we waiting for before they do something about this? I don't know.
I mean, the only people who is being done a detriment are Black people,
Yeah.
or minorities, or those of the working class poor or the poor. Like it's not a problem for anybody but us, so it's not a problem.
What as a teacher, what do you suggest for people who do have these high school students as a means for passing the test? Like I know when I was taking my SAT and ACT, there were programs that we could go to. But now with this being a pandemic, these aren't available. You can't go sign up and take these courses. And the ones online, they don't explain in detail like they would if you were in the classroom with someone, going over the information, explaining these things and teaching you how to understand a question. Like when they take the question apart, they teach you how to find the answer within the question. Because that's what we were doing when I was, taking the test.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, as a teacher, what do you suggest for Black parents that, the test isn't going away? This is the way it's going to be for the next few years. What do you suggest would be something to help increase these scores or perhaps help a lot of these students to stop having to go to a junior college because they didn't have the scores that were good enough?
The only thing that I can say is parents really need to support their children in reading for leisure. Not enough kids have books. Not enough kids are carrying books and reading books. Like they have their phones and they're always like reading text. But a lot of these standardized tests aren't necessarily about history or science or this, that, and the third. It's really a literacy test. It's how well you can decode information and understand it. Am I echoing?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's really a literacy test, and part of the problem is Black children they don't read as often as they should. Their interests in reading aren't cultivated because our communities are often focused in other places. And I know that seems like a broad blanketed statement. No, I'm not saying every Black person. No, what I'm saying is overwhelmingly with regard to inner city youth, there isn't enough reading going on in the home, and they're not reading for leisure, and they're not learning new vocabulary, and they're not understanding context because those things can help you navigate the other stuff. If you're a
Right.
strong reader, you can kind of figure out some things if you understand like word parts or fragments, like just like prefixes, like the word, like the prefix un is going to mean the same thing no matter which word is attached to. You know what I mean? So like those kinds of things. Like the only suggestion I can give to Black families is to encourage reading, like require it. Like reading is so important, and that's it. That's basically it. Because remember the saying, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book. Now that at first it was like, okay, that's not fair because y'all ain't exactly allowing us to read, right? Black person get caught with a book, you chop my hand off, you burn it, you know what I mean? So you didn't exactly foster a love for reading, you fostered a fear of it, if you know, if you want to keep it real. But now, at this point in society, that would be my only admonition to Black families: read with them, cultivate a love for reading as early as possible, because that's going to be their saving grace.
Right. Also, when reading, also we need to change the material. Like I know a lot of people are reading things that are not specifically written in an educational manner. You know what I mean? Like it's all right to, read books that may be about different things. A lot of people read, what is that? Zane books and
Are you
Zane
what
gonna?
had
I
us
mean?
wildin'.
Those
Zane had
books,
us.
those books don't necessarily give you a different perspective on the world. You know what
Right.
I mean? Those books are not designed to increase your probability of coming across a word that you might not recognize. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? So, I guess also to add to that, I think that I'm gonna take my oldest and we're gonna pick out books that we don't even know what the topic means. So we can open up the book and maybe come across something different because I don't even know what this topic is talking about. Like this is literally Monticello. Like let's just try something different. I think that's what we're gonna do on our next trip. We're gonna pick things that we're gonna look at things that we wouldn't even normally read about. Check out some new topics, check out something different, and we're gonna open up the book. We're gonna see where this leads us, and I'll let y'all.
No, that's cool. To want to take that journey, to want to take that risk. A lot of parents aren't doing that. A lot of parents, and not because they don't care, they just don't. You know what I mean?
It's
They
not
don't.
things that we've done. It's not passed to us,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the things that mainly this show is about. It's a creative process. Like every episode, everybody want to learn something new. So I just learned me some. I have learned something just now. Like I'm gonna change the reading material that my son has access to because I want him to start coming across some of these words and some of these things that he may expect to see because he's in ninth grade. So we gotta get ready. We got to get ready. We have what, 2 more years? By 11th grade, he'll be sitting in front of this same test.
Right.
You know, I
And
keep
like we
echoing.
can piggyback on the topic. Remember who we are as a culture. We just talked about how Brown versus the Board of Education, how they designed to put certain barriers in place to prohibit us from becoming our greatness. And so if we know what their intent is, like our guest told us, we need to take proactive steps in overcoming those things as a culture, being aware that these tests that our high schoolers are taking are 95% not for us in some cases. So we know that we can start ahead of time and take the aggressive steps in changing it, changing the narrative. Let's stop doing the same things that we've done in the past that's not working.
Ebony, do you think it's safe to, oh, we all echoing now. Oh gosh. Do you think it's safe to say that the school system is not trying to develop leaders?
I think it's safe to say that the school system is trying to develop a specific type of leader. And that doesn't always that mission isn't always in harmony with what we want for our kids. Like do y'all code switch ever? Like we all do, right? Am I the only like we kind of know when to do this and when to do something different. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to create generations of code switchers, which in and of itself isn't a bad thing. Like I do understand this concept of like time and place, but if my presence in higher learning, if my presence in a particular field or at a particular table is contingent of me presenting in a way that's conventionally professional or appropriate, or if it sings the praises of a particular type of education, then that's questionable for me as a black woman raising a black daughter. So they are grooming leaders, but the system is designed to groom a particular type of leader, and yeah.
And that might not agree with everybody. Like you said, some people can express themselves. Some people are better test takers.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to get prepared for these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the time is now. We've been, so long keeping information closed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know this information, so I don't need to tell you. You get yours, I got mine. We kind of need to have these discussions more often, because it seems to be going on in New York, Michigan, Georgia. It's a national thing, a crisis.
Right.
I have a question. Would you, because we're representing like different parts of the United States, would it sit okay in your spirit? And I'm not fishing. I'm just curious. Would it sit okay in your spirit to have your children attend spaces that were predominantly white if it meant a better education?
I attended spaces that was predominantly white in the higher education system.
Do you feel like you're better off?
I used to think that, well, let me just say I didn't know what to think of black colleges. I'm not gonna lie. So like when I first went to college, a lot of people would promote you should go to black college or BSU, and I would look at it like, what's the difference? I'm going to get an education. So if these people are there to provide education, would they all provide a good education? It's a college system. But as you get older, like we're having this forum now, had I gone to like a BSU, there's so much more information related to my own history as far as African American and my culture that I would have just learned. And there would have been a lot more different people to connect to that would have had some stories. Because there was a lot of people in college that didn't know what the hell I was talking about. I was one of 2 black female freshmen in a whole entire university. And then you have the whole stereotype. So everyone thinks, some big black female, right, or best of them or some shit. It's always something negative. So now you're not even encountering certain experiences from the gate that would allow you to have other positive experiences, because some people might already cut you off from the beginning. So like over time, when you think about it, would I send my child just for a better education? No. Because who's to say that's a better education anyway? I'm not sitting up here owning a Fortune 500.
Do you think? Okay, so let's
Cassandra, I was waiting for Cassandra.
Do you think we should have? Do you think we should have fought so hard to get equality? Should we have integrated? Do you think we should have integrated or kept it separated? Could we have did things differently instead of the Roy Ward education system? Have we not integrated? Could we did our own thing? that worked for us.
Well, here's the thing. Why can't we do what works for us and allow others to join and vice versa? That's the problem. We're
I'm
so
open.
busy trying to fit in with them
Yeah.
and they're not trying to fit in with us. And then when they are trying to fit in with us, it's like what we talked about last week. They're still in the culture. They're not here to fit in with us. They're here to get information real quick.
I
And then
mean,
they're here
because
to yeah.
assimilation is easier. They would rather assimilate than expose their truths. You know what I mean? So I think that's why it's designed to be that way because our culture is brutal. So when you go to open in that door, you can't let those skeletons all roll out, or it's just going to create too many problems. So assimilation has just been what's easier to do. We're gonna keep it this way. It's no problem. You stay over there in your place, and that's it. Stay in your place. Don't get out of line. You know what I'm saying? That has been the understood thing in the air. It's just there. And so, I mean,
Do you think that means that? Because every time I start thinking lately, everything boils down to acknowledging and accountability. And in some way, shape, or form, they would have to acknowledge what we go through. And instead of doing that, they rather just change the story real quick.
yeah,
Because then
it's
that's
just gonna
acknowledging
Yeah,
the
it's
pass,
gonna
truth.
be too
pass,
much.
pass the bucket. Because I
Once
can
you let
remember
that cat
going
out
to
the bag,
132 with Amaryllis. Our textbooks were raggedy, and that was 30 years ago.
That's another thing. You would think with everything the way it progresses, if we could go back to a time and say we had textbooks like this and we had teachers like this, that you would hear stories now of students that have better quality situations. How you have students now with worse quality situations, or the same, or similar, or none at all. You just said some of your students don't even have textbooks. So what everybody been fighting for? Where's all this money going?
that was a thing in school here. You know, remember I was telling y'all when I first moved to Georgia, my when I first moved to Georgia, being black was a minority in my high school. But by the time I had graduated in 2003, they had done a whole complete change to the neighborhood. Like, they're giving the vouchers out in the city of Atlanta for people to move. I lived in a neighboring Clayton County. So, you know, they basically were tearing down projects, bringing those people to come live now in Clayton County, put a bus out there. And at that time, I wasn't not as consciously aware as to what was going on. I was just, you know, your average high school student coming to school to have a good time and learn little things on the way. But even then, like in ninth grade, we had even let's take it beyond the books. In ninth grade, we had a line that you could go down and you had healthy options to eat lunch. You know what I mean? Like there was no free lunch in Mount Zion High School in 1999. You know, you went down the line, you could get fresh salads, fresh cut ingredients. You could have like subs. You know, there wasn't the fried food line, but then by the time 2003 rolled around and now being white was a minority, the children are being served slop. And at the end of the day, the only thing they can say is that it's not in the budget. We can't afford this. And I mean, we've seen them draw up different county and how they change communities, especially in the they really treat these communities over again. You know what I mean? They can produce whatever outcome they want as far as these schools and how to fund these programs, but yet it's still happening. And I think the one thing is that we're just not out here enough in masses. Like, for instance, you can't even get some of the parents to come to parent teacher night. So how can I get you down here at the Capitol building to rally against what's going on in the school if you don't even care what your child is learning when they come home from school. And I feel like that's a huge responsibility on our part as well. It doesn't matter how many court cases happen in other states. If you can't follow the same procedures, it's never going to happen somewhere else. And I think that has been a long going problem as well. Not only that we're not receiving these things, but we're not out here demanding these things. And that has been a large thing as well. The teachers can't do it by themselves. Our people in the higher ranking offices of education, they cannot do it by themselves. They need the parents to be out here on the front line with them, unless everything else they're doing is pointless. And I think in our community, that's just something that we've been oppressed so long that even myself, you know, a lot of us have struggled with mentally getting ourselves in a position to even be able to do these things. Sometimes it's just too much, you know? And I think it's just time for more support groups in the African American communities. Starting with just your neighbor, like being in our neighborhoods. On one end, we have to do better. These teachers, they just can't do it by themselves. And no matter how many the enemy comes to change it, it's that's just something else. So no matter how many conversations we have about what's going on, if we can't get out of masses and change these, it's just not going to stop. And I see his comment, he says, saying, you know, education starts in the home, and that's 100% correct. If it's not going on at home, it's not going nowhere else. You know, the change is not going to happen nowhere else if it doesn't start in the home. If parents don't get involved, it's just not going to happen.
Yep. And Santos 128, thank you. Hello. Education starts in the home. You are so correct. You have to educate our children beyond the classrooms. We have to hold them accountable. Like Simona said, the educators cannot do this all by themselves. It's a national crisis. They need everybody to play a role.
Thank you, Simona. Shout out to Joey. Thank you. He said it for echoing. I've been trying to fix it. Sorry for the echoing, guys. If you're getting some feedback. But yeah, education does start in the home. Because you were asking, would you send your children to a predominantly white school just for a better education? But also you have parents who are teaching a lot of studies at home. So if they send their kids to a predominantly white institution, what would really be the difference?
It becomes disconnected from the African American community. They become disconnected. I mean,
who they around?
It's similar to when you have these biracial parents. You know, they decide to send children to a school when they're a minority. They do what it takes to fit in. You know what I mean? I think that children in that situation cannot fully express themselves. Like a lot of people that I have spoken to that are biracial, they find it hard to fit in either place. I feel like they're more comfortable when they are amongst the African American community because we're more accepting, you know, and they learn more about who they are there because they cut out a whole portion of their culture when they do go to these other schools.
I forgot to say that because yeah, attending college in itself is an experience. Who you're around is an experience. Who you're around every day, they teach you things, they act certain ways, they show you certain things. And sometimes people forget when you go to college, you're not just learning in the classroom. You're definitely not just learning in the classroom.
It's a complete social experience, you know. The college that I went to, Atlanta Metro.
How do we expect the world when families where we come from don't do enough? Ebony, would you like to answer Asanto's question?
Shout out to examples. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a valid question. I think, but it also does remove that a lot of parents are operating in their deficits. I it's kind of hard to think about having to incentivize parents to come to parent teacher conferences. But if I can't come because I'm at work or I'm at job number 2, or you know what, the my other minor child goes to school on this side of town and I can't get the train over there to pick, you know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. I'm speaking specifically in this instance to like parent teacher conferences. But just this idea that families aren't doing enough might be just steeped in the fact that they're operating in a deficit. They have nothing to give. They don't know how to advocate. They don't know how to be present other than, you know, all they know is that I send the baby to school to get knowledge and they come home. Like parents aren't as equipped as we might believe or as we might hope. And there are a subset of parents who absolutely are just otherwise occupied and not as present as they should be. But I think that you know, A Santos is bringing up PTA meetings, participation in schools, you know, and those are the things typically that happens with like elementary school. When the babies are young, we at every play, we at the, you know, the Easter egg hunt, we doing all those things. And then as the child progresses through school, somewhere around middle school, high school, we be like, oh, well, you know what it is. But those are the years that are most influential. Because elementary school kids want to do good. They want to sit with their hands folded and they want to please you and they want to, you know, they care about those things. You know what I mean? Like, those are the times when they're good. But like that middle school, high school, like grade 7 to 12 is when parents need to be here. But they need to be on every trip, at every this and that. So yeah, I agree. Like that disconnect between home environment and school becomes like a gaping hole as your kids get older. And if it's in your power as a parent or guardian, if it's in your power to be more present and to be more hands-on, you absolutely should. But I think that those who it is in their power are. I think, you know, we have those families who are absolutely doing that. I think that the ones who aren't, I won't say that they don't care. I will say they don't know how. They just don't know how. A lot of the social ills in Black communities is that no one never taught anybody how to do anything. It was never modeled. It was never modeled. So, you know, so like folks are just kind of doing the best that they can.
Yeah.
And that was like when we were first discussing. It's like, and they continue not to. They'll point their finger and judge, or they'll point their finger and comment before they actually give some information that's helpful, or just lead the way. It's okay to give somebody the answer. I don't know why everybody wants everybody to figure everything out and watch them fall on their face, but especially when children are involved, that's education.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of you working in education? Thanks for stopping by. Yes, I believe.
So I am. Mm-hmm.
Did you have a question? The ERW one? And thanks for subscribing.
Yes, our guest has been in the education field over 15 years in the city of New York, Brooklyn.
Big it up.
Yep, we have an educator in the house. So tell us about that song that went global, Ebony.
I'm sorry?
That song
I said my
that
sister.
you created that went global.
The anthem, the BCAM anthem. Yeah, in my my heart, I'm a rapper. I'm a rapper.
Oh my God, it's a teacher thing.
But
You sound like my sister.
Really? I just she
Yeah,
and I need the
yeah.
link because I have an idea for like this project I'm working out in my head specifically for Black educators who rap, and I want us to do like this homage to self-destruction.
Are you serious?
I'm
That's a
so
song
like
right
I want to do
there.
it so bad. I want
I'm
to do it
texting her
so
now.
bad.
I don't believe you just said that.
I do. I want to do it so bad.
That sounds like
You about the
fun.
KRS-One joint, right?
Yes.
I would
Yes.
love that.
Listen, I was like, maybe if I slide up in MC like inbox, she'll be like, okay, I'll feature.
You said
feature
empty
on
life?
it.
Close
Oh
my
my God.
You know, I'm not doing nothing this weekend. Like, I'll pull up. Yes, hey Tara.
Oh, hey, Tara.
Hey,
Thanks for
Tara.
stopping by,
Tara.
Tara. Shout
I
out to
like that
Tara.
educational one.
Off of her rapping skills.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love
Who's Tara?
Tara's my cousin.
Hey, cuz.
Hey, cousin
Tara's my cousin.
Tara.
She supports anything I do, no matter what. It could be trash.
Thank you
She gonna
so
make me
much.
feel like, girl, you did that. It was given. It
Is
was
it too
given.
much to
Tara, we need that
ask
energy.
for
We need that
sample?
energy.
It was given.
Oh, Simona wants a sample.
Oh,
For those who haven't seen the video,
Oh,
is
there's
that
a
okay?
video?
Yeah.
so what? Look, right. So what had happened was, because of COVID, we couldn't do any open houses, like, in terms of high school recruitment. Like, come see what our school is about. So my principal said, create a video that like features some of the things we have at our school. So instead of me doing a real video with no kids, no students, because the buildings are desolate, I said, let's do a music video. And what I did was I sampled WAP. And so what I did was I wrote a rap song, and then I had about 5 or 6 of my students rap the lyrics. So I wrote it and they rapped it. And yeah, I'm nervous. I'm just like,
Go ahead, girl. Go. This the one and only. Don't say you.
no, actually, you know what? I'm gonna do something different. Because I'm a science teacher. So I did this song about the plant and animal cells, and I used Slick Rick's children's story.
Okay.
But I had to, of course, because I was doing it for my kids, I had to make it more like Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. So one of the verses go, well, the opening verse is, once upon a time, very long ago, we begin to study life. And so now we know that the reason for, oh goodness, now I forgot it because I'm nervous. Death is the arch nemesis. I'm talking about the genesis, the origin, the place where all life began. It's called the cell since the day it arrived, said to be the smallest thing that's considered alive. You see, there are certain things that a cell carries out to keep itself clean, comfortable, and healthy, no doubt. Amidst the unpredictability, it has the keen ability to be an oasis through homeostasis. So I'm introducing like all this science vocabulary, This all happens through the structures inside. They call the cell organelles, and they ready to ride. Cell membrane is the bouncer all around the outside, and he a real picky dude, so you better not try it. So I'm trying to illustrate like the properties of those various cell organelles so that students kind of know, oh, this is what they do. The mitochondria, I call it Red Bull. Mitochondria has its plate always full, provides the cell with energy, so we call him Red Bull. Nucleus is boss of the whole production. He gives each organelle orders and instruction. We call him Rose, and he's membrane bound. He stores DNA where our genes are found. Vacuoles are places where we keep the stash, storing food and water, even waste and trash. So like that's the kind of thing I do, like to get the kids hype. Then I start rapping it.
I was like, I know what a nucleus is.
Don't you wish you had a teacher like Ebony? There's only one Ebony Jones. One Ebony Jones.
So I try to write a little song for every unit and have them get it, just so that they can learn. But here's the other upshot.
They'll never forget.
A lot of our kids aren't listening to hip hop anymore. They listening to Billie Eilish and K-pop, and I'm just like, I'm losing them. You know what I mean? I'm losing them, and I'm just like, well, why is that? Because remember, hip hop was hip hop, and then it became like rap. No disrespect to Offset and Onset and everybody else, but it's just like hip hop had like it was steeped in something. It had a premise. That's what I'm trying to resurrect, you know. So we'll
That's
see.
what
We'll
I'm
see what happens.
glad you brought that up, Ed. That's what Axe Nate said. Remember, he said they don't make music about love, inspiration,
None of that.
motivation.
None of that.
Pure ignorance.
Hi, Giovanni. There go alumni. How you doing? She said freestyle, Ed.
Right. But see, yeah, but like and thinking with the theme of today, like they forgot where we came from. They forgot. It's like they too busy, I don't know, in the matrix. But like where's
Literally, you just said it.
it's like
It's like you stay on too long. You just flow with the crowd. You don't even know who you from. You just see, oh, they number one. Oh, they shaking that ass.
right.
Oh, they got a Grammy. You don't even, Grammy don't even mean nothing no more. But
Yeah.
that's what they do. They flow to whatever the commercial norm is, I guess. Whatever's most popular, like high school, whatever's most popular, whoever's the coolest or seems the coolest. I was on Nate show last night and I said to somebody, it's kind of like why the money within our system, it heavily goes to ignorance before it goes to education. I said, and then everybody go follow little baby, whatever grown man named himself little at the time. But that's what you get paid before the educators of our world.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
But
And then I was
we
having a
appreciate educators like Ebony that makes a difference. She
Absolutely.
knows her students.
Oh,
She
you
knows
see
the
that,
line
Ebony?
of the curriculum to
He
get
said
them
he's
excited,
asking
to
because
get them motivated, and that makes a difference.
yeah.
It does.
he said he was asking for your teacher because he wants to take the praxis.
Yeah, I encourage that. I encourage it. I mean, if especially as a black man, we don't have enough black educators that aren't teaching gym. You know what I mean? Like, and no disrespect to the cool dieseled out PE teacher. You know what I'm saying? But black men can do something other than athletics. Black men teach math and science and and culturally responsive history. Like, so I encourage that. Shout out to you. There's
Matter of fact,
there's a one and a two. What'd you say, Simona?
I'm sorry. When she said that, I want to shout out a teacher here in Atlanta, Georgia. His name is Kenneth Ware. He is a math teacher, matter of fact. Um, he's always loved the kids, and he went from being a server and got his education, and now he's a math teacher, and his students love him as well. I forgot about him, but I'm gonna reach out to him. But yeah, he is a math teacher as well. He gets through.
Yeah.
That's
And representation is everything. Like, they need to see black men doing something other
productive.
than what they expect. Yeah.
Sports.
Yeah. Very narrow idea of what success looks like, our young people. And I don't know nothing. I'm just a nappy headed school teacher. You know what I mean? Like, what do I know? You know what I mean? So I'll be like,
I would assume it helps younger males engage more or different types. Because, everyone sometimes looks at certain areas of curriculum and maybe thinks like, we don't need this, or why am I listening to this lady? So, like, having, a male who's teaching, maybe he makes it look cool or
yeah,
necessary.
absolutely.
Math is necessary, people.
Right, listen, especially like
And numbers
consumer
do lie.
math.
That's crazy lying.
Yeah, like, okay, trigonometry is good, but can we like learn about like investment? And we just got a financial literacy class this year during COVID. I'm like, well, thank God, but like before that, I mean, trigonometry has its place, but not in real life. People need to understand APR. You know how how they got me freshman year with that Discover card? You know what I mean? And I'm swiping. I'm swiping, swipe. You know what I mean? It's lit. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody tell. I was like, wait, pay it back with interest. Wait, I swiped $40 and I owe you 48. Wait, what? Like nobody. It's like what you mean? It was a hard lesson. It was a hard lesson, you know. But I'm glad, you know, because our kids need to understand. Everybody want to chase a bag. Miss Jones, I'm trying to get the bag. Miss Jones, I'm trying to get to where the money reside. I'm like, okay, that's a noble aspiration, but you got to understand how to grow your money. You got to understand how to, you got to understand money matters, you know. So that's
It's crazy.
important.
Everybody keeps a lot of us chase a bag now thinking upon something else. Like you chase your bag and you get your education, can't nobody take that bag from you. Like I don't want no bag that's contingent on if your body fall apart. Now that's not your bag no more. You
Exactly.
got that's somebody else's bag now, sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, you're right about that.
Thank you, A
Yeah.
Santos 128. Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
I don't
You
know
don't
that
see
on
it at
social.
all. Like we saw, what was that? They gave us stuff like technology ready to take our style. Like a lot of things in my we were doing making clothes and home shop class and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
there's machines that do a lot of that stuff they taught us when I was in high school, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody was teaching me how to keep money in a bank and how to purchase a house and how to do that. So yeah, that curriculum needs a
Yeah,
whole
I don't think I
redesign.
learned about financial literacy till we had went to state, and they used to do that for our I believe our freshman year. They would
Oh,
have
University
workshops.
101. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. University 101. Yeah, we used to
Yes,
sleep on them classes, but they kept us woke. Okay. You right.
yes,
We need that skill. We need that skill. Yeah.
yes, and that was very important. But like Santos said, we should know that early on.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, it matters in middle school. It matters in
Mm-hmm.
high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
The ERW 91. He said he subbed for a little bit. More men are definitely needed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Shout out to everyone who's sticking around for the show. Thank y'all. We appreciate y'all.
He said he subbed for a little bit. More men are definitely needed. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I
In the
agree.
teaching field.
Mm-hmm.
You're like Ed said, children that look like us need to see other people that's holding um influential positions. You know, like she said, some people are so untouchable. You just can't go grab a Dwayne Wade or who else is a basketball infamous uh
LeBron.
Iverson, anybody, any celebrities. We just can't grab these people. Like me and Simona was saying, we have unheard heroes. Like
Mm-hmm.
Ebony, she's a hero. She doesn't get enough credit how she goes beyond. But we need to
Definitely.
highlight
Well, you
people
just
that
did.
we can touch because they make a difference. So we need to be more approachable and relatable.
Yeah. Agree. Because children don't learn from people they don't like. I learned that in a TED talk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they don't. They don't. No, and it doesn't mean like you got to be like homeboy, homegirl. Like, but you have to be very innovative in your pedagogical approach because teens naturally want to rebel. They naturally want to be like, what?
Yeah.
Miss, you doing too much. I mean, you all right? You blowing my. You know, they naturally just wanna. They want to do all that. You be
Bless
like,
your
okay.
heart.
But you gotta learn how to kind of finesse them and be like, look, we're gonna
Hmm.
operate off of mutual respect, and So yeah,
Hit them with a little reverse psychology. They won't know
yeah.
what happened to them.
I always that's I learned that pretty early on. Pretty early on, like like my classroom management style is like if this is the circle. You can do anything you want within this circle. Like there's this perceived freedom. So they don't feel compelled to act up because I give them the space to be teenagers. If somebody drops an F-bomb in my class, I'm gonna be like, oh no, sweetheart, not in here. Oh, my fault, Ms. Jones. I'm sorry. And that's enough for me. Oh, that's okay, Queen. And then we moving on. I ain't sending her out the class. I ain't writing. It ain't. I'm not making a whole production out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, you got to kind of, because kids just kind of want to see what's good. And then again, you gotta make space for some of that other stuff to do the work. If you're a strict, rigid discipline, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work because you're gonna be all kind of B's. She gonna drag you after school. She gonna, you know, it's crazy. And it's like, I don't want no problems with y'all. And then because their parents be ready to turn up too. Like you said, can't get them in for a parent-teacher conference sometimes. But let you confiscate that phone. Mama, auntie, the second cousin, this one, everybody out there. Where Miss Jones? Who Miss Jones? Who Miss Jones? You be like, dang, man. Goodness.
Yeah, we need to keep that same energy towards the PTA meetings.
Right.
Holding your children accountable.
Right.
We need to keep
the
that
whole
same
family
energy.
pulled up. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, since you're here, you know what I mean? Well, since you're here. But yeah. Air trip.
So that was one of the things too. A lot of the time when there are problems in the school, the parents fail to go about it the right way. Like, I know we were talking on a previous episode, we were talking about what is the correct procedure when we feel like things are not being handled correctly within the school. You know, here, our first action is always, we contact the teacher, that nothing works. We go to the principal. If that doesn't work, we down at the board. You know, we're down at the County Board of Education next. And if that doesn't work, we go in state level. And then if that doesn't work, everybody take out your phone. This is what we're doing next. You know? And that's what I was saying. That's the new thing. Like, if we can't get these matters handled within the community, it's time to start making a spectacle, you know, contacting the news. And like, they need to see what we're doing. We're here at the State Board of Education because this is what's going on in our schools. These videos go viral so fast. Like, I'm tired of seeing these videos of people fighting and doing dumb stuff when we need these videos of what's actually going on in the school. Like, we got teachers that's out here going above and beyond. And at the end of the day, it's time for parents to join that fight. And it's not going to happen with some parents. I need everybody to be outraged, you know, because it's time. That, like Cassandra say all the time, the time is now. Like, we're not playing no more games. Like, I haven't always been 100% proactive in that matter at all, but after this pandemic, it has brought a lot of things to attention, and I'm not willing to go back into school once this is over and have the same things going on. Like, I'm going to find me some parents that are on the same page, and if we are experiencing the same matters, then this is a problem for our children. You know what I mean? And if it's a problem for the children, 9 times out of 10, the teacher is dealing with some stress behind it as well. You know, and that's just where we at with it. We're gonna find out whatever it takes in the state. And I also encourage people who are watching, like, if you need help with something, like finding out, you know, what to do in your state, we can learn together. I'm open to it. We can learn together. There's people we can contact. You know, it's people that'll tell you. You just gotta put in the work. So that's where we are with this. Like, it's just time. Nobody has time to get left behind anymore. Like, our children are performing, and they're doing it that sometimes it's better than their peers, but they're being overlooked. And it's just not. It's not going to be a thing anymore.
True.
It says too many parents are trying to be their children's best friends and not leaders. They just want to leave their kids at the school and put in zero effort in their in their school work, homework, projects, etc.
Hey, Santo sound like a teacher. He been beating the parents down.
I'm about to
He's
ask
sick
her,
of
where
it.
are you?
He's sick of it. He's tired of it.
Be to join the panel, A. Santos.
Is he in New York?
He is tired of it. He is.
I want to know where's he located at.
I think he's
said,
in
I'm
Brooklyn.
over it.
In
In
Brooklyn?
Brooklyn? Okay.
Unless he was bigging it up. He said he's a parent of 2.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Nice. No, I mean, again, a huge amount of veracity of what he's saying. You know. Yeah.
Manhattan from
So
Brooklyn.
I'm glad we're having this dialogue because it seems like a lot of people are having the same issues. They sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is a good topic so that we can move forward. We can take all this information, absorb it, and put it to use.
Mm-hmm.
Put it to good use.
I'm trying to fix the echo, guys. A few people told me we're echoing.
Okay.
I'm echoing. I don't know how to fix it. Oh, Eli wanted to come on. I didn't even see that. Let me see. Thank you, Eli, for joining.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, y'all?
And thank you for subscribing.
Oh yeah, I said I was going to subscribe. Yeah, I was going to subscribe, check you out.
I see. Thank you. But where did Cassandra go?
Right.
Hold on a second. We lost one. I see you, Simona. We lost Cassandra. Let me try something out, guys. Everyone here?
Yeah, it's still an echo.
It's still a,
Yeah.
I'm trying to but I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, check to see if you got an extra tab open.
On YouTube or stream?
On YouTube. See if you got like another YouTube tab open because like I know sometimes for me I might have 2 videos up at the same time, and then you might be getting feedback from another video. I mean from this video just in a different tab.
Oh, I see Cassandra. Does it sound better now? No, hear it. Hey, Cassandra. Eli streamed us. He subscribed this morning.
Is that
It's still echoing, and I'm off. It's all right.
Yo, do you hear echo on my end?
No, it's not you. It was happening before you joined. I've been trying to fix it for a while. Trying to close every single thing in my room, in my house, my laptop. Make sure nothing is posting. All right. Well, what
just check to see if you got another tab, and if it's not that, see if you got an extra browser up that's playing the video.
Yeah, it might be the idea we got 4 people on, maybe.
No, it's been happening for a while, and I've been trying to fix it since the first time we lost the phone. And I thought it was me, so I kicked myself out. But that didn't work. But it's something I'm doing though, because it's happened to me. But no. Is it better, Eli?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's
Yeah,
an echo, but I can still hear you.
All right. Well, what brings you to this side? I'm surprised that You're joining the first video you're seeing.
You know, it's crazy. Like after the conversation we was having with OG and stuff like that, I hopped on this and the ERW91. That's actually me. So I'm the one who's like a sub. I had experience subbing and stuff like that. So I want to hop on, just talk to y'all.
Oh, you was hiding from me.
You said what?
You was hiding from me.
I was about to. I was about to, but yeah, I'm actually interested. Like my ex-girlfriend, she was a teacher, but her situation was kind of crazy because she was teaching in North Carolina, and then when we moved to Texas, she said that she wanted to teach in the inner city, and she's not from the inner city. She's a suburban type girl, and she went into the inner city, and it was a nightmare for her. You feel what I'm saying? And going back to what y'all was saying as far as like parents and stuff like that, that was like the main issue that she was having. Because you have kids, she was teaching elementary school and there was a lot of kids with like behavioral problems and stuff like that. And none of the parents were supporting her. It was like parents against the teacher. You see what I'm saying? And throughout the whole semester, throughout the whole year, she was never able to do what her goal was to go in the inner city in the first place.
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. I don't know her, but no matter what change you're trying to affect, no matter how super dope your curriculum is, if you don't have strong classroom management, nothing's gonna happen. Nothing at all is gonna happen. So that's the first thing that and the downside to that is classroom management is nothing that anybody can teach you. It's something, it's like really on the job training. It's like you kind of get innovative as you're in it. And I guess with the lack of support, I mean, because parents are going to do what parents do. But if you don't have support from your administration, that's where it all falls apart. And if you don't have a strong union, and outside of New York City, I don't know a lot of places that do. But yeah, that's a challenge. Classroom management is the number one thing. You have to learn how to not control, but rather support 25 to 30 kids in controlling themselves, so you don't have to like constantly be addressing a bunch of different things. I don't know what your experience has been as a sub. I mean, as a sub.
Oh, mine's been, for me, it's actually vice versa. Like,
Okay.
me as a sub, classroom management is not the problem. It's just that, like, my career, like, over, like, the last 4 or 5 years after I graduated, been in a certain direction. And I don't know how good I would be if I was to take the practice of having to learn, like, a core language. I mean, a core subject or something like that.
Have you looked into programs like AmeriCorps or Teach for America?
Nah, the only thing I know is that like in Jersey, you got to take the practice. I mean, you got to take the practice, and then if you don't have a teaching degree, you got to give your bachelor's with a certain amount of credit within a certain subject, and you go through this program, and while you're completing the program, you get to teach.
Oh, okay. So that's essentially the same thing. Yeah. So that's good because that way you don't have to. You're not paying for that master's, right?
Nah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You want to get on something where the state that you're working in is going to finance the degree that they're requiring you to have. But in New York State, we don't need the praxis because New York State has their own set of ridiculous exams. But the good thing is with the praxis, if you go back to Texas, wherever you go, you're going to be able to teach because the praxis is like one of those national exams. When I relocate to Gwinnett County, Georgia, I got to put it in the universe. I'm gonna have to get certified in Georgia. I'm gonna have to go through their loops because New York, even though there's reciprocity, but with the praxis, you're setting yourself up to be good no matter where life takes you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested. Like, one thing that I do realize though, I was always looking at teaching as like a backup, but I realized like the barrier to entry and then the amount of work that it takes, I can't look at it as a backup. That's gonna be my primary career. It's like a lot harder than what I from the outside looking in. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We need you, bro.
Oh yeah,
We
oh
need
yeah.
you.
I'm always gonna. I mean, I really rock with that. I think because like high schoolers, they have a good perception of like age. So I'm closer to their age, so classroom management is a lot easier for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe that's what made it good for me too, because I was teaching like 16-year-olds and I was 22. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly.
so it was like, oh, okay. I'm like the big sister, the cool big sister. I'm like, yo, just chill out, like, come on now, like, come on. He's like, all
Yep.
right, Miss Jones, all right, so.
Yeah, but what's the topic about? Like, I hopped on. What was the original topic about?
Oh, remember who you are. Cassandra, are you there?
Huh?
Oh, okay. Remember who you are. He was asking us the original topic. So I didn't know if you saw.
Yeah, I'm on here. This was Simona's topic.
We went to a whole other place today. We've been going in for an hour and a half, but I mean it's been helpful information. So hey, you know.
We did have a quote for y'all from a woman named Gwendolyn Brooks. She was the first African American Pulitzer Prize winning poet. And she said, "Do not desire to fit in, desire to oblige yourselves to lead." So I guess that was a good quote to fit today's subject matter that's being discussed.
Yeah.
Because that's really the goal today. We need to just help build more leaders. For some reason, it feels like they don't want us to lead, or they know how strong we would be once we were put in a position to lead.
And I know
And
one
like
of the
and
things
like how Ebony said, they making a certain type of leader. You know, everybody don't fit
Yeah.
in this certain type of lead. So we gotta take that responsibility and help lead.
and then you have people who are equipped but just don't feel confident, don't feel, you know what I mean, who don't feel like they belong in that position, and you know what I mean, and that doesn't come from nowhere. But I'm definitely one of those people. I'm mad insecure. But people are like, really? I'm like, nah, I'm a
Yeah,
mess.
I don't. How
I'm a
can you
mess,
be
like,
insecure? How can
You
you?
don't ask how.
yeah.
You
But
have a whole bunch of students
no,
every
but
day.
that's what I'm
Like,
saying. But that's like what it is. Like my profession, I spend every day pretending to be like an expert, and like, you know what I mean. Like it's like,
you had that like the imposter
yeah,
syndrome.
exactly. That's exactly it. And I'm like, oh
Yep.
my god, like, But I'm working through it. I'm working through it. But yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of the times, like a lot of people are insecure about becoming leaders, but I think a lot of that has to do with you looking at yourself how you are and not realizing that people don't see you that way. You know what I mean? Because like when I was in college, for instance, I would have like a presentation, and I'm like at the end of the presentation, I'm like, damn, I know I bombed that presentation. And then the next time we have like a new project, we're like, yo, Eddie, you got to be the one to present.
And you be like, oh,
Oh, okay. Like, where did that come from?
yeah,
I be sweating and all of that, but nobody else knows. You know what I mean?
yeah. You're always like your worst critic, though. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Checking.
So what
If
do you
anyone have anything else to add, I think that summed it up. This was a good topic. Remember who you are. We can even go back to when we came here as kings and queens. If you have some free time, you can Google it up. First African queens and kings to give you some royalty history.
Yes.
Sometimes they want to paint a picture as if we just were, damaged people.
Mm-hmm.
We were a confused people. We were a poor people, and in fact, that wasn't the situation. We came from owning our own villages, sharecropping. We were innovators,
We
and
were
so if we
literally the
know our
first.
history, we can know where we need to be. And just take some time, like Ebony said, lead, educators. If you have free time, email your students, your kids' teachers. Find out how you can be a help, how you can assist, how you can be some type of motivation to the educator. Maybe the teacher is tired; she need an extra push. Just try to help out where you can.
Be more understanding in a sense. And also with what you just like piggyback off what you just said, we were the first kings and queens and literally also the first large trafficking. Like we were literally stolen from our place of greatness and born here the same blindfolded, no idea what we went into, no means of identification because everyone was separated. So when you think about that, we had a long fight, um, and it continues, and it's just time to be more on the winning side instead of continuing to be a victim when we already know. Um, the enemy has showed itself in several ways, and it's just time to move on from that and get better. You
Facts.
know, they'll never stop, but we can show enough give them a hell of a fight,
That's
and
right.
that's where we are.
That's right. Can I just recite something for y'all real quick?
Yes.
It's something I wrote, a monologue I wrote called Her. And it reminds me of exactly what you're saying, Cassandra. And it goes, I come from quarter waters, mixtapes, and baggy jeans, from Double Dutch Teen Tag and Franks and Beans, from Square One Contact and Bill Nye, downtown Brooklyn for my Easter Sunday fly,
Hey.
from crack vials, fake smiles, fussing and cussing, from broken homes, sticks and stones, and guns busting. To my mama's new boo, he was kind, he would give, put new clothes on our back, gave us a nice place to live. But at night I closed my eyes, pray she'd hear my muffled cries. Wish my step pops would die while his hands between my thighs. Penetrated and berated, used and abused. I spent my youth in the fog, fucked up and confused. I turned tricks, moved bricks. I mean, so many faces. I was working Panub in all the wrong places. Tried to take my life. I admit I'm a mess. I fell victim to the system of the poor and oppressed, but got tired of being low. Turned my life around. I read books and wrote hooks. And in the process, I found that I'm royal. I'm the shit. Not playing no second fiddle. So what? I'm dark and bald headed and thick in the middle. I'ma stand in my truth, take the veil off my eyes. And today I stand before you to make you realize you come from cotton blooms, jumping brooms, and strange fruit, from Cotton Club, Jitterbug, and Zoot Suits, from Barbara Johns, Linda Brown, and Ruby D. Fannie Lou Hamer, Lena Horne, and Ida B. Look, I know it's hard and you're scarred, you want to cry, love. But stand tall, seize it all, you got to try, love. From despair to repair to the sky, love. Kings and queens, spread your wings. It's time to fly, love.
Yes. Thank you.
That was hard.
I'm gonna take it back to Bulldog Lounge.
That was good.
Coffee houses, the coffee houses in the
Ebony,
Yeah,
thank you
but
so
thank
much.
you.
You don't know how you just blessed us tonight.
No, I appreciate so much for y'all being here, the energy, just giving me an opportunity to just chop it up with like-minded women. It was my pleasure. I thank you so
Yo,
much.
who was that? Who was that?
That was her.
That was you?
Yeah.
She made that.
Man, that is that is nice. I think
Oh,
I
you
think that was
missed
Thomas.
her earlier freestyle?
He had to digest it.
Yo, I was looking up. I was googling the lyrics trying to find out who wrote that.
Oh my gosh, stop it. No, you
I
gotta
swear,
take
you
it
have to
in.
know Ebony. Like when I told you we had a guest, y'all didn't know we had a guest.
Hold up.
We had a
MC
special
Light.
guest.
You're
Like,
right. Get
You heard that. You heard that.
You heard
that,
that? She taught me science tonight.
Please. Yes.
you gonna get some
And,
of
and tell your
everything.
sister to hit me up on Instagram so we can do this.
Yo, I texted her like 4 times. She's in another country, so she should be teaching right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's
That's
Monday where
awesome.
she at, so she should
Okay.
be teaching.
Oh, okay.
So that better be her.
Nice.
Yeah. But
yeah, that was dope. Wow.
Thank you.
Spit mad fire upon him. Who's that? Let me Google.
Yeah. So I'm a teacher, but first and foremost, I just feel like a writer. I feel like an artist, and
A leader.
yeah, and
She's
a
a
leader,
leader.
and a leader. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to do
Thank you
something
again.
with that? Do you want to do something with that?
I'm trying. I've been working on a manuscript for like a decade. I have like a bunch of vignettes. Like I have so much writing. But it's just like putting things together and just like, and again, having the courage and the self-efficacy to like send my work somewhere and be prepared for it to be received critically and not hear no and fall apart and don't get out of bed for a week. You know what I mean? Like I have to work myself up to that place, and then I'll be like my cousin Tara, her sister and I have, this is what we've been talking about for years. Like, oh, we're gonna write these books, we're gonna publish it, we're gonna do all these things, and like 100 years later, we're still like, well, it's not ready yet.
Now,
Ebony, you've been doing this for over a decade now. Over a
I
decade now.
don't know. I'm gonna make it a matter of prayer.
Come through and just drop
Culture
some.
needs you. The
what's
culture
your-
needs you. We tired of that shaking up behind music.
Right?
yo, we were just talking about that yesterday, Will.
Oh yeah, we
were
were.
talking about that.
I was telling him, little baby, little Uzi, little this, little that.
Yeah, Cardi B,
All the
Megan Thee
grown men,
Stallion.
little.
Yeah. It's like,
Is
They
that
breaking the
is that
generation.
Huh?
Is that Nathaniel?
We were on his channel speaking for a while last night. That's
Oh,
where
okay.
Eli came from, who was also, I don't know if you caught it, he was the one asking Ebony about the teaching. He was the one who was saying little ERW or something before. He tried to hide from it, and he told us.
Okay.
But
So
on
we'd
the
love
channel,
to
we were
have
talking
Ebony
about
again. This ain't gonna be the last time.
Ebony, anytime. Even if you just want to say something and we could like feature a Ebony rap.
That would be
Well, I got a
awesome.
question. Are you more like a poet or like a rapper?
I think I can be whatever the situation necessitates. You know.
Versatile,
I
very
can be
versatile.
Yeah.
Go back to our live and rewind. Let us see some science on you. Literal science.
Right.
Nucleus, boy.
See?
Chromosomes, nucleus.
Yo, you don't even understand. I hate science. But then that made me realize I did learn some science.
See? Yep. Yep.
So that was really cool. That was really cool. Wait, have you actually done that for children?
Every year I do.
Every-
Wait, which one? Which piece?
The science one.
Yeah,
You
every
teach
year
for
it's
them all
like
the time.
it's a part of my curriculum. When it's that unit, I make them do it with me.
I gotta send you the video. She went global over.
Oh, that's what you said earlier. The video.
Yeah, she went.
Can we
global.
share it?
Yes, a snip. Yeah.
No, can you share it on the link in the comments?
I think I gotta find it. It's on one of your posts, right, Ed?
Yeah, I listen. I'm a fake millennial. I don't really.
Don't get me
I should
started.
know.
Oh,
I should
right.
know how to do this stuff, but
Yeah, I'm gonna go on her. Well,
You
I'm
have the
gonna
link
add
now
you.
somewhere?
let me
Yeah.
see.
Are you can see the comment section if you post something in here or no?
Yeah, I can see it. I'm gonna see if it'll.
Yes, because I'm pretty sure the listeners are gonna want to play that over. They're gonna want to hear that, teach it to their kids. Yes.
I was just saying last night, you're a teacher, you know, they don't teach hygiene anymore. They're trying to take certain curriculums out, and that's what we were saying on another show. It's kind of like they don't want you to have certain information. It's all good. Hey Santos, thank you for staying with us tonight. I appreciate you. We appreciate that. And if you wanted to join, you seem like you had a lot of information pertaining to the school system yourself.
I think it's that.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Let me see. I'm gonna drop Ebony's link, Eli. Anybody else who want to listen, there's her Instagram. And that's where your video is posted?
Yeah, wait, yeah.
Is it also posted on any other stream?
No, it was well it no, I think it's just on my Instagram. On my and I'm gonna write my name too because I don't even know if that
You're
link
such
is
a
to
teacher.
any.
I'm gonna just give them all the
You know what I mean?
information.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah, because I'm like, hopefully that is the.
If you want, we could post a video to our channel that you are a guest and just share the video.
Oh, sure.
Is your Instagram open?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tag you.
Yeah, it's open.
Thank you. And then we'll just post it. Hopefully people will check it out. And then they can refer back to the video on our channel. You can see.
Nice. That'll be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And everybody, every Sunday, same time, same place.
Oh, thank you, A Santo. Shout out to you. Thank you for subscribing and actually watching and joining.
This week, I was talking to Cassandra. One of my goals for this week is to try to see if some of the people I meet, because I just meet different people daily. I'm gonna see if some of the people I meet will start to let me interview them and record them and see how they can extend their services. Because this week I met someone who was she was a gym instructor, but not like your regular gym. It was like martial arts and boxing. And she worked with a lot of inner city children and teaches them civil rights and the laws that are local to them. And then I also met a ex correction officer this week who had he was also trying to develop some help Black boys. So between the two, I was trying to find a way to start interviewing these people, getting them on camera, and also find out ways to get some money so that they can also do whatever is calling in to start making a change. So that's something that I've been busy with this week, and I'm a little shy. I didn't really want to ask people can I interview you or can I be all in your business? I have trouble with that, opening up, starting a conversation sometimes. But I think I'm gonna try to do a little better with that for the week and see who I can meet, because I just been meeting a hell of a lot of people since this channel has been going on. So I don't know what God is trying to do or what message He's trying to send through me, but I'm just gonna find a way this week to be all in the business and get myself involved in every situation.
Yeah,
that
and if you have any ideas too, Ebony, we Amaryllis mentioned, we're gonna try to do an encyclopedia drive. Because now a lot of students don't have any access to encyclopedias like we had.
They like, what's that?
Dude, you're a teacher. You're probably like.
So we want to try to bring that. We want to bring that out. We want to bring that out and give that out.
Yeah, that's what's up.
They in the
Yeah,
phone
see this whole
nowadays.
thing.
You gotta give them a list. You give them a book. They be like, "What is this?"
You gotta rap about it first, and then we'll
Right.
deliver it.
Exactly.
Facts, facts.
Exactly. That's what we got to do by any means necessary.
Yes.
That's
Just
right.
hopefully this channel will be able to do a lot of different things because we just want to give back in areas where, like we said in the first show, people just don't help other people who need help. And there's so many areas that are just missing help, whether it's children's education, just information for people to make decisions or informed decisions, just empowering people to make a decision. Some people just need to hear something,
Mm-hmm.
but like Simona said, she don't know why she's getting all these contacts all of a sudden, but everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna make use of it. Cassandra said make the YouTube, make the YouTube be here, and let's get it.
Yes.
There it is.
Well, we don't have no more comments or questions, we'll wrap this up. And again, we thank you so much, Ebony. Like you
Thank
really
you.
blessed us tonight.
Oh, I don't
Blessed
know.
us tonight.
Wait, before you wrap it up. Joey said, where's our super sticker? He wants to buy you all dinner. Now, there's a way that we can put something up here so people can donate to our channel. Joey, I have to ask Nathaniel how to do that. I really
Thank you
appreciate
for even
it.
asking that.
Thank you for even
Right.
asking because I forgot that that was even a thing. I appreciate you. We appreciate that. I'm gonna find out. I don't know how that works. There's something you can click and then people donate to your channel.
Oh, nice.
So I'll
That's
ask.
what's up.
So thanks, Joey,
Yeah.
and thank you, A Santos. Percy said there's nothing wrong with that. Breaking the ice is difficult, but you seem to have the right mindset. Keep pushing. You know it. I always support minorities pushing forward and positive.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. That makes the difference.
That's something that we were talking. Remember on the first episode, we was talking about how that's something that a lot of us missed in our childhood. That support from the parent, and that's just a big issue in a lot of homes as well. A lot of children just aren't getting that, and then they're not meeting their full potential because of it. And so that's another thing as well, to keep pushing on that end as a parent, to be that support system and uphold them. And, you know, you're not always going to be the most successful, but there's ways to address that with your child. There's ways to say, you know, it's okay, but next time, you know, this is what we need to do to get better. Get to that point instead of like, I know for me, you know, I don't really want to go into that, but y'all know what I mean, you know.
We know. We gonna have a whole nother show. We all gonna be sitting here like, right, Simona? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we said before, sometimes it's hard to unlearn bad behaviors that we've been, brainwashed to. But just even trying, one day at a time makes a difference.
Yeah, Simona said last show, even the way you speak to your children, it starts at home. And you might have to hear it out loud to retract yourself in order to speak differently so that they hear differently and they carry themselves differently. But yeah, it starts at home.
You remember who you are. When they say no, you say yes.
We've been doing it this many years and we still here. Still wearing crowns.
I could probably count how many people probably counted us out long before.
But we still here with our ancestors.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And thank you, Eli. This was really cool of you.
Oh yeah, definitely. With our conversation, yesterday, I had to check you out to see to see what you have going on. And I really appreciate y'all letting me in, conversate with y'all. I'm about to be out. I'm gonna check out your YouTube because you got some balls, man. So I'm gonna definitely keep up. I'm gonna definitely
No,
keep
I don't
up.
have a YouTube. I
Yeah,
just have
that was
Instagram.
interesting.
I don't have no YouTube.
Okay.
Maybe you
No,
should.
she
Maybe in the
in
future.
the
Maybe in the
classroom,
future.
hard body.
I wouldn't even know where I need. You know what? I need to ask one of these kids to help me. Sit down.
Yeah.
Sit down and help support me. Yeah.
Yeah, but all right, y'all. I appreciate it. I'm gonna
Okay.
subscribe and keep up with y'all.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
All right, take it easy, y'all.
So that was good. Y'all satisfied? This was cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I didn't know what kind of teacher Cassandra had, but this was the bomb.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I wish I could have had an Ebony as a teacher.
Listen.
I might have actually cared about science.
Right.
Yeah.
Cassandra, I thought you did some teaching for a while, no?
No. I went to
Dope.
no, not in a bad light. Not in a bad light. I met F. Jones. Graduated. I went to SCSU 2003. She was one upperclassman. Yup, she was.
You're a sophomore?
I was a freshman. She was a sophomore. Yup. So when she became a senior, I was a junior. She was one of the persons I'll never forget because she was straight Brooklyn. I was from Brooklyn. She was on the SGA, Student Government Association. She led a lot of mini roles on campus. She was a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority
She just been a
International.
leader from a jump.
She wore many hats. And
Cassandra was
still
destined
doing
to
it
meet
today.
you.
Right.
In order to
Still
stay
doing it
out
today.
there from Brooklyn, God said, I'm going to place her next to this one. She's about to run that.
And it's Cassandra's laugh. Her laugh is infectious.
Right?
Like,
It never changed, yo. Ebony.
infectious.
I was born laughing like that.
That was one of the things I said when we reconnected. I said, "Oh my God, you still have the same laugh."
Yes.
Yo, I'm dying. It's like so Cassandra. If somebody laughs like that, they stole her laugh.
Right,
They stole my
exactly.
laugh.
No, yes.
I'm like,
That's a
wow.
good thing. But I appreciate Ebony for real, and I thank you, and may God continue to bless you,
Thank
give
you.
you the strength,
Thank
give
you
you
so
the
much.
mind, give you the ability to give your all. Continue to give your all. We need
Thank you. Thank you so much. And same to y'all. Like it was a pleasure. It's almost midnight and I'm feeling great. Like if I was doing something else, I'd be nodding off.
Right?
Like,
I fell asleep on Cassandra the other night. It wasn't even midnight.
but this feels good. This feels good. So yeah. Thank you.
Many fun times in Bushwick, best time, East New York.
Okay.
Okay.
See you.
Okay.
I'm from Uptown, but you are from Brooklyn? Gotcha. Is EB Jizzle your Instagram name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll add that.
Where is it?
You need to meet my sister, EB.
Yes. She'll love her. She got the same soul.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, A. Santos. Thank you so much.
Hey Santos, yeah.
Oh yeah, Bushwick was right around the corner from us. Bushwick. We by Graham Avenue in Lorimer.
Oh, we used to always be going shopping when it was Easter Sunday, Easter weekend. We going up on Graham Avenue.
Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Right.
Oh my God, ABC.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah.
on Broadway. Yeah.
Yep.
Take that walk.
Take that walk. No, they don't know about walking.
Goodness. What was that? The L? J? What train was
Yes,
that?
the L.
The L. Yeah.
And then you can get the J Broadway Junction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I never took that train growing up.
It looked dangerous.
No?
You didn't
I
miss
never went
nothing.
up those stairs.
You was like, I'm gonna get the bus. I'm gonna get the bus.
I will every time.
I'm gonna get the bus.
Especially not after midnight. Not after midnight.
You know, some people be like, "How Brooklyn are you?" Not that Brooklyn.
Not that. Oh goodness.
Y'all crazy.
Oh, he said he's Puerto Rican.
All right.
Cats were getting robbed left and right. Yeah.
We've been through a lot. Yep. Yep. Still going.
Joey said he wishes all black kids could visit the motherland, since this will encourage them to work harder. I was fortunate to travel often, and this put me in check.
See.
That's what
We all need to go visit.
someone was pointing out last night on the channel. OG, shout out when she joined our channel. But he was saying that the Overman, he's going to move to Africa. And he's going to start a school.
Oh wow.
And his wife's son. And he said all these men travel to all these countries to meet all these exotic women because they don't want to deal with black men and deal with black women in the United States. And that's so fucked up because why don't they go to Africa? You know, but the truth be lied. So many people want to travel to all these European countries and all these places that they just see on TV just because, and they won't even go to their own homeland.
Mm-hmm.
That should even be one of our recreations. They should at least let us go back to where they took
Everybody
us.
get a trip. Right. Everybody get a trip. Mm-hmm.
Oprah, you get a trip.
Right.
You get a trip. You get a trip.
That's right.
Imagine. That would be so worth it. And then he also mentioned people forget that Egypt is in Africa. And then sometimes when people hear that, they don't want to go to Egypt no more. That's sad. Because you got a stereotype in your mind or a stigmatism of what Africa is. As if it's this place that's lower or a place you don't want to visit, or I don't know why people have such a bad depiction of Africa as far as going to visit today's, current state. It's a beautiful land. It's a beautiful land.
Yeah, I would love
When
to.
I get done with West Africa, I would love to make my way to the Seychelles. I've seen it on TV. I want to go. I want to go look at the history of West African countries, and then I want to go and just relax. Because I feel like that's gonna be a lot to take in.
The ancient Egyptians, the Greeks, man. Yeah, the Greeks despised black. What's that? That's I'm just making sure I get everything. Something's wrong. All right, guys. Now
All right.
thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Y'all have a good night.
Have a good
Yeah,
night.
too. I'm so
See you
sleepy.
Sunday.
It's past our bedtime, but we probably still gonna be awake another hour.
Yeah, because I gotta get all that rich and rare.
Cassandra, what time is it? Where you at?
12.
I don't know why I thought you was in a different time zone. I
Yeah.
don't know geography. I could rap about mitochondria, but I didn't know Michigan and New York was on the same. See? You see?
Yeah,
I'm like, girl, what time is it? About 6 o'clock for you? I gotta do better. Good night, ladies.
Good night.
Good night, Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Good night.